What started as an overseas passion project is now a thriving Kiwi business approaching its 20th birthday. Now, after taking New Zealand by storm, handbag and accessory business Saben is planning a greater push into the Australian market. Saben founder Roanne Jacobson joins me now to talk about her company. Welcome, Roanne.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Well, why don't you start off by telling me a wee bit about Saben, sort of how it got started and your inspiration behind it?
So yes, it was a passion project. I was living overseas and couldn't afford what I was admiring and loving, and decided, as with my origins in art, I decided I could make what I wanted. So that was exactly what I did. When I decided I could make something more of it, I came back home to start Saben properly, and that's where Saban really started.
And where did the name come from?
Saban is my grandmother's maiden name. So she was a great inspiration to me. She let me sit by her feet every morning when she got dressed and help her choose her accessories out of her wardrobe, and just really admired how much time and effort she put into putting herself together in the mornings. And that was when I thought about where this inspiration came from and my desire for these beautiful accessories. That was what came to mind.
Oh, that's so lovely. Now, 2 decades in business is a big milestone for any company. What's the secret to your success?
Perseverance. And I suppose really just wanting something bad enough and keeping on going even when it seemed, even with the setbacks.
And how have you seen your business sort of change and evolve over those 20 years?
Quite dramatically. My the history of my business kind of tracks the same that my life for the last 20 years. So I've had children. We've bought houses where the office could actually be in the house, and then we've moved on to another house where the office had to move out. And so the decisions I've made for my life and our family have really kind of come into the mix of my decisions for Saban.
And your manufacturing's gone through its own journey. What can you tell us about that and what lessons you've learnt from that?
The manufacturing, we started in New Zealand. That came with its own restrictions and limitations. So we looked further afield and we ended up manufacturing out of Indonesia. That came with problems too, insofar as standards and quality. And so we ended up in China, where both those issues aren't issues. um, and yeah, that's really we've sort of stumbled on two family-owned factories that are we've worked with now for over 10 years, and they are an extension of our business, which is wonderful because we work so closely with them and are in constant communication.
And obviously, the big news is your upcoming showcase and your sort of greater push into Australia. What can you tell me about that?
Well, it's very exciting. We've been solely sold through David Jones for 5 years. And this is really kind of a way to acknowledge the huge role that they play in our growth, and to let the rest of Australia know that we're there, and try and grow that business further.
And looking back, sort of what advice would you give a younger you?
Well, as soon as they're able to hire people who can fill the gaps of knowledge, I think that's been a huge key for me in terms of outsourcing skill, and taking as many risks as possible without it being silly. Um, not being afraid of the no's. I've always sort of talked to my staff about the fact that the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. So yeah.
And the sort of handbag and accessory market sort of become a bit saturated recently. How do you stand out from the others? What's your unique selling point?
Well, our product is really it's accessible luxury, so the prices aren't crazy. You're paying good money, but you're getting a really good purchase. The product is incredibly well made. It's quality. It will last a lifetime if you look after it. We talk about heirloom pieces and pieces that you can pass on to your children, your grandchildren, and that there is no reason why these bags sitting behind me couldn't be around in 25 years, 30 years, 40 years. If you look after them, they will maintain their gloriousness.
And what's been some of the key milestones sort of reflecting back?
I suppose setting up our online retail was a key milestone. Setting up our retail stores. Some of our key clients, like David Jones, they've been big milestones for the business. Working with chains here in New Zealand that are going really well. So they're adding more stores. Our boutique business is just as important as the rest of our business. So that's been really great for us.
And can you give us a peek into the next 20 years? What sort of goals and plans do you have coming up?
Oh, well, just growth, expansion plans in terms of product development categories. Um, yeah, the nice thing about running your own business is that whatever sparks your interest, you can put into play. So for me, it's yeah, I'm forever looking at things that I desire and want, and know that if I want it, most likely somebody else will too.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us.